Alright guys, it's Mad Friday and welcome back to another quick tank review, and today we're going to be looking at something a little bit lower down the scale. We're going to be looking at the new Tier 5 British tank destroyer, the Archer. Yep, sits at Tier 5 in the tech tree. It follows on from the Valentine. And it is also a reuse of the Valentine chassis, so don't expect it to be too fast. And also, where do you think the driver is? Which way do you think this thing drives? So the gun's sticking out that way. Yeah? So you'd think it would drive that way. Yeah, you'd think that. Look at this. That's all engine decking and radiators. So the driver can't really sit there because he'd get boiled. And if you look in the back of the hatch there, you can just see that black square. There's actually a seat facing the other way, and you can see the controls. And there is the driver's hatch and his upper viewports to drive when the hatch is shut. Yep, that is the front of the tank here. And that is actually the back in real life. But in the game, you drive it the other way around. So if you actually want to do more than 12 kilometers an hour, which is the top speed forward for this tank, you need to drive it backwards. And you can do about 30 kilometers an hour. And I will demonstrate that in some gameplay. Right, quick look at the packages. The stock tank and the first package are disgusting. I feel sorry for anybody if it doesn't save up a little bit of free XP and gets past these packages. This pack starts to get better. You get the first of the 17 pounders. You do get some decent pen and decent rate of fire, but you really want to research this extra package, and the main reason for that is the top 17 pounder, the tier 7 17 pounder, that is the top gun on the tier 6 Achilles, as well as this, and also the Challenger at tier 7. Yep, this gun you use at tier 5, you'll be using all the way up to and including tier 7, so you want to research it now. So have a look at stats then. 192 horsepower engine, it's not too bad considering it's such a small, light, soft skinned tank destroyer. Track traverse is very good at 46 degrees a second. View range is 360, so you're going to need binos, and signal range is fairly bad at 550, but then it is a tier 5 machine. On to the best bit then, the gun. 12.77 rounds a minute with 171mm of penetration with the AP rounds and 150 alpha damage. That is very good. And premium pen goes up to 239mm of penetration. That is insane pen for a tier 5 tank destroyer, but you will need it because this thing does meet tier 7 heavies. And 171 pen with 0.36 accuracy. Can see you getting let down, especially when you have 360 hit points. If you need to kill an IS, you need to kill him from stealth because he can one-shot you. Guaranteed. Yeah. Never mind. Anyway, aim time's not too bad at 2.29, and again accuracy at 0.36 is okay, but it does let you down at long range. Anyway, so stats aren't that bad. It's a bit of a funky tank. Yeah, I'm struggling to like it purely because it's so hard to play it in an aggressive way, because you need to drive it backwards to get anywhere quickly. If you spot someone and they happen to spot you back, by the time you've turned round, well, they may have even tracked you before you've turned round and killed you. Anyway, I'm not going to stop complaining so much. Equipment, bog standard light skin TD equipment, camo net and binos, stealthy and view range, and a rammer, just because it's nice to be able to shoot people quicker. Yeah. Right, so that's pretty much all you can say about this thing. You can see my ammunition. I've stocked plenty of AP, few APCR rounds, and 2 high explosive rounds just for in case you ever needed them. Trouble is though, I have run out of rounds in this tank a few times, and the HE rounds don't really seem to do anything, so it's up to you whether you want to carry a couple for very light skin targets and maybe a cap preset. Well, on to some gameplay now then, fellas, and we'll see just the pluses and the negatives about this little monster.
Got enemies incoming. Either take them out or capture their base. Let's go.
Right, here we go, tankers. Archer on Derpenberg, tier 6 game. Yeah, this thing really doesn't mind about tier 6 games because your hit point pool is so small anyway. Doesn't really matter what hits you. The idea of this tank is to stay stealthy, stay unspotted if you can, make good use of cover, good use of the view range techniques, i.e. trying to fight on a diagonal, trying to keep your enemies above the 400 meter range but try to keep them in render distance range if you can get the hang of that. It's all about the thing in the corner of the screen, the map. A lot of people don't seem to be able to understand how to use a map these days. Not talking about you guys, I'm talking about your random teammates that spoil games for you. Yes, you can see what I'm doing now, driving backwards. So this is in real life, this is forwards. Yeah, anti-tank guns in the war, they wouldn't have driven around like nutcases looking for each other. They would have set up in a defensive position, probably hole down in a hole in the ground and waited for the enemy advance. But in this game, we rush around like idiots looking for each other, trying to kill each other as quick as possible. So yeah, that 12 km/h forward speed really doesn't help you with this thing, and it's kind of like the Crusader SP. You have to drive that thing backwards, but that thing's really fast, whereas this thing just potters along at a fairly average speed. Right, so the first shot in the KV-1 bounced off his turret. This time we find his turret ring, which is nice. And look at that rate of fire again. We already had another round down the range and we managed to track him in place, but he's gone blind. So that's the end of that one. Right, so turn the tank around. So I'm going to try and push over to the bush over to the left and support these two guys that are hanging around down here. They spot a VK3601H coming over, tier 6 German heavy tank. So I set up, hopefully get my binos up before, not my binos, my camo net before I start firing. There's no way he's going to have enough view range to spot me over here. And he actually tries to blind fire me, rather than shoot the guys that are in front of him. Although now he's changed. Right, there we go. Finish him off in 3 hits.
Ready to fire on target.
Yeah, the gun arc on this is decent. A lot better than most non-turret tank destroyers. And the track traverse is pretty good too. But it seems like that 40 odd degrees track traverse only counts when you're driving it backwards. Obviously when you're driving it forwards, you are going a lot slower, so it's a lot harder to get that track traverse speed. Well, I don't know, it doesn't look too bad there actually. Maybe that was a bit of BS from me. Right, so I loaded up a premium round for the KV-1, but a load of other targets appear. And now this is completely over the top. Hitting Matildas with nearly 240mm of penetration. Yeah, I did my normal. I swapped for one target, and more targets appeared, and I waste some money here. But we do pick up a couple of kills in the process. Right, I've seen what I was doing now. Switch back to the standard rounds.
Fire on target.
Right, and this is the sort of gameplay that I despise. Sitting in a bush with a camo net and binos deployed, just waiting for someone to come into your view range and get spotted. There we go, there's one. Matilda, one in. He backs off.
Ready to fire.
There's his buddy.
Let's go hole in their armor.
Yeah, this is what this tank's all about. Using its camo value. But to use that camo value, you've got to pump up your view range, which is why I've got binos and TM put in on this thing. As soon as you get spotted, you've got, what was it, 360 hit points? That is not enough. At tier 5, that is well within the one-shot range for an M4 Derp, and at tier 6 there's probably a few TDs that can one-shot you, and at tier 7 even some tier 7 heavies can one-shot you with ease. Remember, you've only got, was it 20mm of armour all of the way around. And artillery, most artillery you can meet can one-shot you. It's an open top vehicle and the skin of it's only 20mm anyway. So getting spotted in this thing and not moving and not having Sixth Sense. Sixth Sense is a must on this tank. So advancing at the top speed of 12 kilometers an hour, and then for some reason, I don't know whether it's just the sort of the slight shallow down angle on this bit of land here, I managed to speed up for a little bit, which is a bit weird.
Target locked.
Maybe the driver's forgotten which way we're driving. Enemy's KV-85 burns out and goes down there. Nice shot from our KV-2, done that. Now I get bored of driving at that speed and I spin it round. And now you're gonna, in a minute, you're gonna see what I was talking about earlier about having to advance to a position. If you want to play aggressively, if you advance to a position and you want to get there quickly, you have to drive it backwards, which in the real world was forwards, and then you have to spin it round and get your gun to bear on the enemy, which leaves you very exposed. And I almost throw this game here. Right, Sixth Sense goes off. Panzer 4H spotted. He's on full health and he's only just been spotted. So I spin my tank round so I've got my gun facing towards the enemy. That leaves me miles away from the cover I wanted to use and only doing 12 kilometers an hour. That shot bounces. Well, that was unfortunate. Right, I didn't think the KV-1 had line of fire on me here and I get hit. I repair my tracks, track the Panzer 4H and then get into cover. If the Panzer 4H was able to come around the corner, I'm dead. Side scrape out, he's been hit by the team and I finish him off. Right, there we go. I was very lucky to live through that one. If I didn't make that tracking shot there, I was dead. And because I did make the tracking shot, guy didn't repair. Even though he hasn't been spotted the whole game, so I would have thought he'd have a repair kit. Yeah, so I can pick up some assist points from the team there and a little bit of extra damage. Right, so the rest of this game, the team are just chasing down the enemy team's Matilda that went to try and cap and told everybody where he was. And I didn't get there in time to do any more damage. Right guys, hope this replay really highlighted the sort of the effect of having to drive this thing backwards to get anywhere. You did see the gun is pretty good, pretty reliable, the rate of fire is excellent. But I don't think the decent gun makes up for the fact you just can't drive this thing around with your gun pointed where you want to go. Well, anyway, picked up the ace tanker, which was nice because I can get rid of this thing now, and a sniper medal for hitting, I think that's 8 out of 10 shots in a row. Top of the team, decent amount of base experience, but not enough really. That wouldn't be a mastery on a lot of tanks, but I guess because this tank is so hard to play, that was enough for a mastery on this day. 9900 damage done. I do have another replay with 2500 damage done, but it was a horrible defeat. And yeah, it was quite a boring replay, just some more bush camping to be honest, so I decided to show you this one. Well, there we go guys, give me your views on the Archer. Are you going to bother with this line? I know one of my friends does really rate the tier 10, but I'm really looking forward to driving the tier 8 and tier 9 personally. Anyway, please give the video a like if you did, please sub if you're not, and I'll catch you on the next one. See you later.